Imagine being restrained by your own family for days, bound by cable ties, handcuffed to a bed as prayers echo around you, not for healing, but for an exorcism. This is the horrifying true story of Kennedy Ife, a 26-year-old London man whose family believed he was possessed by a demon. What began as a sore throat spiraled into a 67-hour nightmare of spiritual warfare, ending in tragedy. Was this faith or fatal delusion? Stick around, because what happened in that £1.3 million mansion will shock you. A wealthy family, a son's descent into madness, and a jury's controversial verdict. This is a deadly exorcism, the Kennedy Ife case. The tragic case of Kennedy Ife, a deadly exorcism in North London. The story of Kennedy Ife's death in August 2016 represents a harrowing collision of religious fervor, mental health crisis, and family tragedy. This comprehensive account pieces together the events from court documents, media reports, and expert analyses to present the full narrative of how a 26-year-old London man lost his life during what his family believed was a spiritual battle against demonic possession. The Ife family background. The Ife family resided in an affluent 7-bedroom mansion in Hadley Wood, an upscale suburb on the outer fringes of Enfield, North London. Kenneth Ife, the 64-year-old patriarch, was a wealthy business consultant with a PhD in mineral engineering who had advised the World Bank and British government. His wife, Josephine, 56, known as Sister Joe at their church, and their 5 sons, Roy, Harry, Colin, and twins Samuel and Daniel, 20, formed a close-knit, deeply religious household. They were devout members of the Jesus Sanctuary Ministries, a charismatic Pentecostal church in southeast London. Their religious beliefs, described in court as deep and unusual, would play a central role in the tragic events to come. Kennedy's disturbing symptoms emerged. The chain of events began on August 13, 2016, when Kennedy Ife and his family visited a Chinese buffet restaurant. Shortly afterward, the 26-year-old IT consultant began complaining of a sore throat and developed persistent insomnia. Over the following days, his behavior grew increasingly erratic and disturbing. By August 19, Kennedy's condition had deteriorated dramatically. He threatened to cut off his own penis, threatened to rape a young girl, spoke of a python or snake inside him, mentioned the mark of the beast 666, complained about a seed in his stomach, believed a demon inside his body was waiting to kill him. That same day, a violent altercation erupted when Kennedy bit his father on the shoulder. Rather than seeking medical help, Josephine Ife contacted a minister from their church for guidance, viewing this as a spiritual rather than medical crisis. The 3-day restraint. What followed was a 67-hour ordeal where Kennedy was subjected to increasing restraint and spiritual intervention. Physical restraint. Cable ties, ropes, and handcuffs were used to bind Kennedy to a bed. Brothers took shifts guarding him using overwhelming force. All knives were removed from the kitchen as precaution. Spiritual interventions. Family engaged in continuous prayer sessions. 2 pastors from Jesus Sanctuary Ministries arrived to perform prayers. Attempts were made to exorcise what they believed was an evil spirit. During this period, Kennedy's condition fluctuated. His brother Colin later told police that at times, Kennedy seemed to improve with prayer but would regress, particularly like at a full moon, it would just click. The family interpreted these episodes as evidence of spiritual warfare rather than signs of medical emergency. The final hours. On August 22nd, after 3 days of restraint, Kennedy developed severe breathing difficulties. His brother Harry finally called emergency services at 9 a.m., reporting that Kennedy felt a bit weary and had gone a bit cold from dehydration. When paramedics arrived, they found Kennedy in cardiac arrest, over 60 injuries on his body consistent with forceful restraint, a possible bite mark among his wounds. Despite resuscitation attempts, Kennedy was pronounced dead at 10:17 a.m. Shockingly, as police arrived at the scene, they witnessed Kennedy Ife performing what was described as an attempted resurrection, chanting, "Kennedy, in the name of Jesus, arise in the light of God." Legal proceedings and acquittal. 7 family members were charged with manslaughter, false imprisonment, causing or allowing the death of a vulnerable adult. The prosecution argued the family prioritized misguided religious beliefs over medical care, with prosecutor Tom Little QC stating they decided that he should be restrained in his own home with them rather than calling 999. Ultimately, that restraint was a cause of his tragic death. The defense maintained the family acted out of concern, with Roy Ife testifying he considered this a domestic issue rather than a medical emergency. Kennedy Ife denied any association with cults, occults, and secret societies influenced their actions. On March 14, 2019, after 4 days of deliberation, the jury acquitted all 7 family members of all charges. Aftermath and broader implications. Kennedy Ife's story highlighted several critical issues. 1. Mental health awareness. Experts suggest Kennedy likely suffered a psychotic episode that went unrecognized as a medical crisis. 2. Religious extremism. The case revealed how certain Pentecostal beliefs can dangerously interpret mental illness as possession. 3. Cultural factors. The family's Nigerian background and charismatic Christian beliefs shaped their response. This tragedy stands as a sobering reminder of how faith, when divorced from medical reality, can have deadly consequences. While the legal system found the Ife family not guilty, the court of public opinion continues to grapple with the complex questions this case raises about responsibility, belief, and the limits of religious freedom. Kennedy Ife's story forces us to ask, where does faith end and madness begin? His family believed they were fighting demons. Doctors would later say they were fighting something far more real, untreated mental illness. But in the end, the only thing truly exorcised was Kennedy's life. And the most terrifying part? They still believe they did nothing wrong. Sleep well.